The pattern is changing. And if you've been watching the models over the past 48 hours, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Snowfall totals across the eastern United States are trending upward, not by a little bit. We're talking significant increases in multiple regions from the Great Lakes through the Mid-Atlantic and into portions of New England. Right now, across the country, conditions couldn't be more different. The Gulf Coast from Texas through Mississippi has been dealing with warm, humid air, temperatures running 10 to 15 degrees above normal for mid-January. That warm air mass has been sitting there for days. Meanwhile, eastern Colorado saw temperatures drop to 17 degrees this morning, with wind chills down to 5 degrees. That's the Arctic air we need to discuss. South-central Wisconsin was seeing rain early this morning. By midday, some areas reported snow already starting to fall. That's how quickly this transition is happening. The contrast is remarkable, and it's this contrast that sets up what we're seeing on the models. Let me walk you through what's happening meteorologically, because understanding the setup helps you understand why these snowfall totals keep climbing with each model run. We have a strong upper-level trough digging down from Canada into the central United States. This trough is pulling Arctic air southward. At the same time, we have moisture from the Gulf of Mexico being pulled northward ahead of this system. When you get cold air and moisture colliding like this, you get snow. The question is always how much and exactly where. The latest data from the National Weather Service shows a surface low-pressure system developing along the frontal boundary. This low is forecast to intensify as it moves northeast. The deeper the low pressure gets, the more moisture it can pull in. The more moisture, the heavier the snowfall rates. This is basic meteorology, but it matters because we're seeing this low deepen more than earlier runs suggested. Looking at the model guidance, the 12Z GFS run this morning showed substantial snowfall from portions of the deep south all the way through New England. We're talking about a corridor of heavy snow that could impact tens of millions of people. The GEFS ensemble members are showing strong agreement on this system. When you get 21 out of 30 ensemble members showing snow for a specific area, that's high confidence. Now, the European model has been more conservative. The Euro tends to be more reliable at the 5 to 7 day range. It's shown two separate systems instead of one larger event. But here's what's important. Even the Euro is showing significant snowfall. It's just splitting the timing and track slightly differently than the GFS. The Canadian model has been the outlier. It's been drier and further offshore with the storm track. But the Canadian has consistently underperformed this winter season with coastal systems. I'm giving it less weight in this particular forecast. What we're seeing is a classic setup. Cold air is in place across the interior. Moisture is abundant. The jet stream configuration supports storm development. The pieces are coming together. For the Great Lakes region, lake effect snow has been ongoing. But this is different. This is a synoptic scale system that will bring widespread snowfall beyond just the typical lake effect bands. Areas from Michigan through Ohio and into western Pennsylvania need to pay attention. Current conditions in northern Indiana show temperatures in the mid-20s with light snow already falling. That's the leading edge of this system. By tonight, snowfall rates could increase to 1 to 2 inches per hour in the heaviest bands. The mid-Atlantic is where things get interesting. Maryland. Many of you have been waiting for snow. Some areas haven't seen a major snowstorm in 2 years. This pattern has potential. I'm not promising anything yet because the exact track still matters tremendously. A 50-mile shift in the low-pressure track makes the difference between 6 inches and 16 inches for places like Baltimore and Washington, D.C. Right now, the models are showing the storm track close enough to the coast to bring significant snowfall to the I-95 corridor. But not so close that it brings all warm air and rain. That's the sweet spot for big snow totals in the mid-Atlantic. The 12Z GFS today showed 12 to 18 inches for portions of Virginia and Maryland. The 18Z run will be critical to watch. Moving into southern Pennsylvania and northern New Jersey, the setup looks favorable. You're on the cold side of this system. No warm air intrusion expected. That means efficient snow ratios. We could see 15 to 1 or even 20 to 1 snow-to-liquid ratios. That means fluffier snow that accumulates quickly. For New England, the picture is more complex. Southern New England, particularly Connecticut and Rhode Island, you're in a good position for heavy snow if this track holds. Some of you have been waiting for a nor'easter. This has nor'easter characteristics. Strong coastal low, cold air in place, fetch off the Atlantic bringing moisture. But northern New England, you might see less out of this system. The storm track matters. If it stays south, Boston could see light amounts while Providence gets hammered. If it tracks slightly north, everyone does better. It's a fine line. Let me address something important. Many of you remember the blizzard of '93. That was a generational storm, 3 feet of snow in some areas, temperatures 20 below zero. This is not that storm, but it doesn't need to be that storm to be significant. 8 to 12 inches of snow is significant. It shuts down roads, closes schools, creates dangerous travel conditions. You've seen worse. But that doesn't mean this isn't worth preparing for. The timing looks like this system develops Sunday into Monday. The exact timing will depend on how quickly the surface low develops and how fast it moves. Faster movement means shorter duration but potentially higher snowfall rates. Slower movement means longer duration with steadier snowfall. For those in the potential impact zone, here's what you need to know. Snow is likely to begin Sunday evening across the mid-Atlantic. By Monday morning, the heaviest snow will be ongoing from Virginia northward through New Jersey. By Monday afternoon, the system begins pulling away, but snow could linger into Monday evening for coastal New England. Wind is going to be a factor. Coastal areas could see sustained winds of 25 to 35 miles per hour with gusts to 50 miles per hour. That creates blowing and drifting snow. Visibility could drop to near zero in the heaviest snow bands combined with wind. Power outages are possible. Wet, heavy snow combined with wind can bring down tree limbs and power lines. If you're in the heaviest snow zone, make sure you have flashlights, batteries, and a way to stay warm if you lose power. Temperature-wise, this is a cold system. Daytime highs Sunday will struggle to reach the mid-20s across the mid-Atlantic. Overnight lows, Sunday night into Monday morning, could drop into the teens. Wind chills will make it feel like single digits or below zero in some areas. After the snow ends, the cold remains. High pressure builds in from Canada. This keeps temperatures well below normal through the middle of next week. Daytime highs in the 20s, overnight lows in the single digits and teens. Any snow that falls will stick around for a while. Road conditions will deteriorate quickly once snow begins. If you're planning to travel Sunday or Monday, reconsider. If you must travel, leave extra time. Pack an emergency kit in your vehicle. Blankets, water, snacks, phone charger, shovel, ice scraper. For those who've been through this before, you know the drill. But for younger folks or those who moved from warmer climates, heavy snow requires preparation. Stock up on groceries before the storm. You don't need to empty the shelves, but make sure you have enough food for a few days in case you can't get out. If you use a snowblower, test it now. Make sure it starts. Check the gas and oil. Nothing worse than discovering your snowblower doesn't work when there's 6 inches on the ground and more falling. If you shovel by hand, pace yourself. Take breaks. Heavy, wet snow is exhausting to move. And it's dangerous for those with heart conditions. If you have a heart condition or you're over 65, consider asking a neighbor or hiring someone to clear your driveway. Keep an eye on elderly neighbors. Make sure they have heat, food, and a way to communicate if they need help. Winter storms are harder on older folks, especially those living alone. For those with pets, remember they feel the cold too. Limit time outside. Wipe their paws when they come in. Salt and ice melt chemicals can irritate their paws. If you have outdoor cats, bring them inside or provide a warm shelter. Now let's talk about what happens after this system. Because this isn't just a one-and-done event. The pattern supports multiple systems over the next 10 to 14 days. The teleconnections look favorable for continued cold and snow. The North Atlantic Oscillation is trending negative. The Arctic Oscillation is negative. When both of these indices are negative, it favors troughs in the eastern United States and cold air outbreaks. The Pacific North American pattern might go positive again. If that happens while the MJO moves into phases 8 and 1 at the end of the month, we could see a very active pattern for winter weather. What does that mean in plain English? More chances for snow, more cold air, a pattern that favors winter weather rather than suppresses it. Looking ahead to late January, the Climate Prediction Center has issued a moderate risk for life-threatening cold from the 24th through the 28th. We're talking about wind chills potentially 40 to 60 below zero across parts of the upper Midwest. Dangerous cold. The kind of cold that causes frostbite in minutes. That Arctic air will eventually sag south. It always does. When it does, Any moisture moving through will likely fall as snow rather than rain. Multiple clipper systems are possible. These are fast-moving disturbances that drop down from Canada. Each one can bring 2 to 4 inches of snow. They add up quickly. There's also potential for another larger system around the end of the month. The models have been showing this off and on for several days. It's too far out to have high confidence in specifics, but the pattern supports it. For those who follow the models closely, you've probably noticed the GFS has been aggressive this winter. It tends to show big snowstorms at long range that don't always verify. So I understand the skepticism when it lights up the East Coast with 2 feet of snow 10 days out. But here's the difference. We're now inside the 7-day window for this weekend's system. At 7 days, the models have skill. The signal is strong. Multiple model runs are showing similar solutions. That's when you start to trust what you're seeing. The Euro has been the more conservative model this season. Some people call it Dr. No, because it often shows less snow than the GFS. But when the Euro and GFS start to converge on a solution, that's when confidence increases. We're starting to see that convergence for this weekend's system. The Euro 6Z run showed a more robust system than earlier runs. Still not as aggressive as the GFS, but trending in that direction. By Friday, we should have very high confidence in the track and snowfall amounts. Right now, Thursday night, we're at medium to high confidence that a significant winter storm will impact the Mid-Atlantic and portions of the Northeast. For specific snowfall amounts, here's my current thinking. And understand this will change as we get new data. Northern Virginia through central Maryland, 8 to 16 inches possible. The higher amounts would be north and west of the immediate D.C. metro area. Southern Pennsylvania through northern New Jersey, 10 to 18 inches possible. Highest amounts in the higher elevations. Southern New England, specifically Connecticut and Rhode Island, 12 to 20 inches possible if the track is favorable. Northern New England, 4 to 10 inches, with higher amounts in the mountains. These are not official forecasts. These are based on current model trends. Your local National Weather Service office will issue official forecasts. Listen to them. Let me address some specific areas because I know people are wondering about their location. For those in Atlanta and northern Georgia, the 12Z GFS today brought snow back into your area. The Euro has been drier and keeps the snow further north and east. It's borderline for you. If the storm track shifts 50 miles west, you could see accumulating snow. If it stays on the current track or goes east, you'll stay mostly dry with just cold temperatures. For Alabama and Mississippi, you've been dealing with severe weather and warm conditions. That ends this weekend when the Arctic air arrives. Whether you see snow depends entirely on if enough moisture is left behind when the cold air moves in. Right now, it's a low probability for significant snow, but not zero. Tennessee, particularly the eastern portions around Knoxville and Johnson City, you have a better chance. Cold air will be in place. If moisture can wrap back around the system, you could see accumulating snow Sunday night into Monday. The Carolinas are in play. Western North Carolina in the mountains should see accumulating snow. The question is how much. 6 to 12 inches is possible at higher elevations. The Piedmont region from Charlotte through the Triad up toward Raleigh, you're on the edge. Everything depends on that exact track. South Carolina, particularly the upstate region, has a shot at accumulating snow. Coastal areas will likely stay too warm for much accumulation. For Florida, this isn't a snow event for you, but you will feel the cold. Temperatures could drop into the 30s across northern Florida. Central Florida could see lows in the 40s. If you're not used to cold weather, dress in layers. Most Floridians don't own heavy winter coats, and that's fine. Multiple thin layers work better than trying to find a parka. The Ohio Valley from Cincinnati through Columbus will see snow from this system. Amounts of 4 to 8 inches are likely. This isn't a huge event for you, but it's enough to create slick roads and difficult travel. Michigan, both lower and upper peninsula, you're going to see snow. The question is, how much is from this system versus lake effect? They'll work together in some areas. Totals of 6 to 12 inches are possible, with locally higher amounts in persistent lake effect bands. Wisconsin, you're already seeing the transition from rain to snow. By Sunday, you'll be well into the cold air. This system will bring additional snow, but you're more concerned with what comes after. The sustained cold and lake effect snow that follows. For those saying this is all hype and nothing will happen, I understand the frustration. We've all been burned by forecasts that didn't verify. Snow forecasting is difficult, especially in the transition zones where a degree or two makes all the difference. But this is different from a model showing a snowstorm 14 days out. This is inside the 7-day window with multiple models showing a significant system. Could it still change? Yes. Could it go out to sea and miss everyone? It's possible, but becoming less likely with each model run. Could it shift and bring rain instead of snow to some areas? For the immediate coast, that's always a risk. But for areas inland, the cold air is locked in. The pattern is favorable. The setup is there. The models are showing it. At some point, you have to trust the data. Now, I want to talk about something broader. Why are we seeing this pattern shift? What's causing snowfall totals to increase compared to earlier this winter? The jet stream configuration has changed. Earlier this winter, we had a pattern that favored ridging in the east. Ridging means warm air and suppressed storm systems. That's why December was relatively quiet for snow across much of the eastern United States. Now, the jet stream has buckled. We have troughing in the east. Troughing means cold air and active storm systems. This pattern change was forecast to occur, and it's happening. The other factor is the Great Lakes. They haven't frozen over yet. Open water means lake effect snow. As long as the lakes stay open and we get northwest flow behind these systems, lake effect snow will continue to pile up. Some areas near the lakes have already received over 40 inches of snow from lake effect alone this season. Add in these larger synoptic systems, and seasonal totals are going to climb quickly. Looking at the snowfall deficit for the season so far, many areas across the mid-Atlantic and interior Northeast are running below normal. This pattern change could erase that deficit quickly. One or two major systems can flip you from below normal to above normal. For those who don't want snow, I understand. Snow creates travel headaches. It's hard to shovel. It makes everything more difficult. But for the health of the ecosystem, we need snow. Snowpack provides water supply when it melts. It protects the ground and dormant plants from extreme cold. It's part of the natural winter cycle. And for those who love snow, who've been waiting for a winter that feels like winter, this pattern is what you've been hoping for. Just remember to prepare properly and stay safe. As we head into the weekend, keep checking for updates. The National Weather Service will issue winter storm watches likely by Friday for areas in the potential impact zone. Those watches will be upgraded to warnings as confidence increases. Download a weather app that sends alerts. Make sure your phone is charged. Have a battery backup if possible. If the power goes out, your phone might be your only way to get information. If you're on well water, fill some containers with water before the storm. If you lose power, you lose your pump. Check your home heating system. Make sure it's working properly. If you use a fireplace or wood stove, make sure you have enough fuel. Carbon monoxide poisoning is a risk during winter storms. Never use a gas stove or oven to heat your home. Never run a generator indoors. Make sure you have working carbon monoxide detectors. For those in apartment buildings or condos, make sure you know your building's emergency procedures. Know where the exits are. Know where to go if you lose heat. This is a significant weather event. It deserves your attention. But it's not the apocalypse. Winter means snow. This is what winter looks like when the pattern is favorable. You've been through this before. Many of you remember bigger storms. The blizzard of '96, the snowstorms of 2009 and 2010. This likely won't reach those levels, but it doesn't need to in order to be impactful. Prepare accordingly. Stay informed, take care of your neighbors, and stay off the roads if you don't need to be out there. I'll have updates as new model data comes in. The 18Z GFS run tonight will be important. The Euro runs overnight will be critical. By Friday morning, we should have a much clearer picture of exactly who gets what. For now, focus on preparation. Don't panic. Don't ignore it. Just prepare. Winter is here. The pattern supports it. And snowfall totals are increasing because all the pieces are coming together at the right time. Stay safe out there.